Welcome, dear listener, to The Journey with M. And today we're going to talk about humans of today. And we have with us Christopher. Welcome, Christopher.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you want to say more about yourself, what you do?
I mean, I I want to be kind of this little mystery for now.
Mm.
Along the subjects, I will also share like some experiences that I've
Mm.
had. So you will get to know me step by step.
I actually like mysteries. It made me more
That is good.
curious now. What do you think about the mystery of being a human today, and how does it differ from humans before?
I think with all the technology we have today, it's kind of sometimes a little too much with like
Mm.
social media and news, and you get bombarded with all this information
Mm.
that we didn't have before. So I don't remember. It was like a TV show about prisoners,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and they were talking in this jail, and he said, "Well, with the internet and all that stuff, it's great. We're much more connected, and it's like we may be much more connected, but still we're not because it's all digital. It's not face to face.
Yeah,
We're all connected, but we're more distant than ever, you know."
we're bombarded by information and we're not connected to use that information together.
Yeah, the human connection is worse than it was before, you know,
Mm.
because of the internet and social media and stuff, I think. I mean, like Swedish people in general are a little closed off and not as social as like Americans. Each
Mm.
country is a little different.
Yeah.
In general, I think you'd see like everybody's checking their phone, everybody's on the go somewhere. It's
Mm.
like nobody just is. And it kind of feels a little awkward, you know, sometimes when you're like, yeah, you take a stroll, and you know, a lot of people they just in their own zone with their phone,
Mm.
and they're there but they're distant.
Something that popped up now was the human species is the only animal kind of that blushes, and that is considered a very authentic reaction in our nervous system. You can't control it. If something affects you and you blush, it means you were affected in an authentic way and you can't hide that. And I think that gets forgotten and not seen when we're chatting or connecting through screens.
Yeah, I think that's a good point because face to face you could see what kind of reaction your words have, and with a
Exactly.
screen you really can't. I mean, there's emojis, but you know, people
It's
that
very
have it too good, as I think now with all this technology, not just social media and that kind of stuff, but like in general, they become more lazy. So
mm.
I think now, even just like sending an emoji, sometimes it's like people, well, I said I'm happy. What's the need for the emoji? You know? So I think like people get
Even the
way more
emojis they
lazy.
want to take away.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying everybody's like that, but I
No,
mean,
actually, I'm
you
thinking
know.
I've been thinking like that recently, which is which is not
So
nice.
I called you out. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's very interesting. I should keep up the emojis. They do something. They add, an extra layer of emotions, even if it's not so deep.
Yeah, because I think they have a role to play. So, I mean,
Mm.
why not use them? And I mean, like, sure, there are people that overuse them, but obviously, everybody's unique in their own way. And I think also, I'm not saying you should get along with everybody because not everybody will get along with you. But
No.
I think like a little bit more openness wouldn't hurt, you know.
Mm.
And of course, there people have bad days and maybe are shy or whatever. But like as a society today,
Mm.
everybody's like in their own world,
Mm.
but complaining that they don't have enough friends or they're,
Yeah,
yeah,
they're
kind
not
of
even
like,
trying to connect.
yeah, it's they put out this hidden work on the other person. I should just be me. and the other person is like, I should just be me as well, and then nothing happens because they don't meet halfway or even close to halfway, you know.
Yeah.
And I think like that's the problem. And sure, there are people that are very social and talk with everybody, so they have no problem. But
Mm. Yeah, I think that's a good point actually to try to connect. And I guess it's like a muscle also that we haven't been using now for a long
yeah,
time.
yeah, and like that's the next point that I wanted to point out is, I mean, the older people are still living in the old ways, I suppose, but
Mm.
the younger generations and people that are our age, I think they're starting to adapt to this newer world where you're not as social, you know, where, you know, you have to talk to other people and
Yeah.
they're like either offended or like startled that you spoke to them.
Mm.
When you're just asking for directions, of course, everybody has a GPS or whatever, but sometimes it's like people have forgotten this subtle arts of conversation, you know,
Mm.
like the thing we're doing now. We're just talking, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
over the phone, picking up the phone and calling somebody these days. And a lot of people have upgraded to, well, you know, I don't like talking on the phone. I never did. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, I'm not going to force you to talk on the phone with me if it's not urgent, because I know you don't like to talk on the phone, you know, not
Mm.
you, Mona, but, you know, this
Yes.
other imaginary person. Uh, but you know, and it's just like you need to be able to pick up the phone and do stuff with the phone, you know.
Yeah. Or just
Like,
have, these conversation and see where it leads. Maybe you will hear
yeah,
something that will help you, or maybe you will feel less lonely, or maybe, there are so many things. And if you
exactly.
say I don't
And
like to talk on the phone, what's the alternative? Do you mean I want to meet you live? I want to see you like in person or in real life? Or do you mean I don't like to talk on the phone and I want to SMS instead?
let's use a friend as an example. He doesn't like to talk on the phone,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes he needs help with something,
Mm-hmm.
and he asks me, dude, I need help with this. And I'm like, sure, can I call you? And he's like, if you can, please text. Or it's the other way around. Maybe I need help, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, you know what? A phone call would be so much easier
Yeah.
because it would take like 2 seconds over the phone. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, realistically, 5 minutes, you know?
Mm.
But writing like this long paragraph, do this, do that, don't do this can happen.
So now you have to funnel all your thoughts into an SMS when it's so much easier to say long sentences that would explain it much quicker, as you said.
And if he doesn't understand it, I have to explain something again, and then he has to send me another text, and then that can take like an hour,
Yeah.
and like 5 minutes over the phone, done.
Yeah.
Basically, you're saving time.
Yeah. The reason is it we've stopped wanting to become personal. It's easier to communicate with each other just as we communicate with ChatGPT.
I think it comes down to like preferences, and some people prefer one way, other people prefer a different way,
Yeah.
and maybe a little laziness and comfort. If you're like in the movies, sure, you could text, you cannot make a phone call, but it's also weird that you're texting me this while you're doing that. So
Mm.
I suppose, why wouldn't you just call me when you have a window? If it's just yes or a no question, I understand.
Yeah.
Then there's no need for a phone call. But, you know,
Yeah. It's interesting. We were not really sure what we were going to talk about in this episode, and it really makes sense that since we decided the word humans was in the name of the episode, and humans are social beings, and that's the first thing we're talking about. And I'm wondering, what other two traits do you think are important or do you value in humans?
I mean, there's a lot that I
Mm.
like about humans, you know, but uh,
Like, what do you think makes them different compared to animals?
well, I think we have evolved and we're much smarter today.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I think like since we're smarter, we also you overanalyze sometimes instead of just,
Mm,
you know, do whatever you're supposed to do and that's that. I mean,
that's true.
I don't know. I think you have to like find this middle ground. I don't know if you remember when we took that walk the other day. I
Mm.
told you about everything isn't black or white. It's a lot of stuff is in this gray area. So you kind of have to be a little curious
Yeah.
and non-judgmental.
So if we would, you said we've evolved, and if we would continue to evolve, actually, I don't want to say evolve, if we would merge with AI parts or that we would become humanoid, would there be something that you would miss in humans?
I'm just afraid it's going to be like the Terminator movies, that AI is going to be too smart
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to see us as a threat.
Mm.
So I think the problem with AI is just it doesn't have like the human experience. I don't use it myself, but I have a couple of friends that use it. And I think sometimes it wants to give you a good answer, but it doesn't really understand what you're looking for
Yeah.
because it cannot really relate to the circumstances.
Yeah.
Uh,
Just gives you what it thinks. Like it can't feel, it can't sense the intonation in which you write or speak the words. Because I think one thing is to analyze, as you said, and use our brains, and another thing is to feel things and sense, what is the person saying behind those words.
that's what it all comes down to.
Mm.
Uh,
Another thing I was thinking is you said we've evolved, but at the same time, a lot of diseases are increasing, like anxiety and depression and cancer. So there's something also we're doing wrong, that maybe we're not as smart as we think.
I was just watching a video.
Mm.
It might sound a little flimsy whimsy, but
Mm-hmm.
bear with me.
Yes, I'm here.
I mean, I can use any example because there's a lot of them, but it's just before I get into the clip, I just want to explain that the way I see the world, because I am a little of an over analyzer at times, but I think I always try to understand the other person's perspective,
Yeah,
not just my own.
yeah,
The algorithm on social media, you watch a bunch of stuff and it just
yeah.
keeps
Shows
giving
you
it
the
to you, you
same.
know?
We're in this
Yeah.
echo
And
chamber.
so my feed right now, it's cute dogs, hockey, skateboard, and like relationship videos.
Mm.
And that's also another thing that is a little creepy. Sometimes you think about something and then social media just shows it to you, you know?
Yep.
And that's really freaky sometimes, because
Yeah.
sometimes it's just, well, it's just like a fluke. So the video was about like narcissism and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember if it was like a woman or a man, or it really doesn't matter, but it was like they were saying like, watch out for this sign, watch out for that sign. If he or she does this, then there's definitely a big chance this guy or she's a narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
And a
All the red
bunch,
flags.
yeah. But you also have to, I'm not defending narcissistic people right now, that's not what I'm saying.
No.
But a thought that occurred was just like one user said in the comment. It's like, and probably the narcissist is sitting and watching these videos and thinking they're the victim. And this is a thing that I've been thinking about for way too long, because they never self-reflect, you know?
Yeah.
This thought just really like blew my mind when
Yeah.
people look at this and they don't self-reflect. And I saw this other video. It was a couple. According to the comments, the woman was the bad guy. Basically, I just think it was really creepy because her eyes were really black, and she would not admit that she did anything wrong. And he opened up and he was like, well, he explained his side of the story, and she was like, no, I didn't do anything wrong. And then I started thinking like this in reverse, and I was thinking like, well, maybe he did something bad before. We don't know because we only see this clip, right? So
Yeah,
maybe
it's only a
he's the bad
snapshot.
guy.
And
Yeah.
isn't that the same
So
with the
like,
news also? They portray
yeah,
someone as
yeah.
the
So
hero.
I'm sorry.
Like the same in the news when they portray someone as the hero or someone as an evil person. That's also like a snapshot. Like we have to really have the courage and curiosity to dig deeper and know what's happening. Because there's always going to be like propaganda out there wanting you to believe one thing or another.
Exactly. I totally agree because lately, with all kinds of things happening in the world, I've been trying to like question things,
The narrative.
because yeah, there's like so many nations and they all have their own agenda. Like I'm just like a regular Joe, so I really can't make that much of a difference. I still have to go to work and pay bills. So
But I still
mean,
think you can make a lot of difference. Like if we together we can make a difference.
like obviously if you join like some kind of movement or something, I
Exactly.
suppose. But I think like with, I don't know, like some bigger stuff, it's like, yeah,
I think a small change is better than nothing. If you feel about something strongly and you start, like you said, a movement or something, then you would be creating something at least, even if it's a small change compared to giving up and saying, little me cannot be able to do something. That's also what they said about the genocide in Palestine. Like there was a post circulating that said, I can't do anything to help, said 9 billion people. So if we, like you said, all have the same intention and want to change in a certain direction, we can.
yeah, I suppose it's true. I mean, sure, of course, if the people, want to change stuff, they all get together. Yeah, the people are more powerful than the king, if that's an
Yeah.
old saying, I don't know, but but I think, yeah,
I
in some
truly believe
cases
in
it,
that.
it it should be. I mean, let's
Yeah, it
put it out
is.
there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But we
I
have to
think
do it
yeah,
quickly before the Terminator comes and terminates
yeah,
us. No,
yeah, but
what do you think we can do to what can we do to change trajectory of this AI thing? Do you think there's something we can do, or are we doomed?
well, I don't have all the answers,
No, you
but
don't.
I think what if I did have all the answers though?
Exactly.
But
Like if we think we have all the answers, or maybe if we try to feel instead of thinking.
I don't think we're getting the full version. Like, why would we? So I
Yeah,
mean, they have more advanced stuff, obviously.
of
They gotta
course.
have more. So so I think like
What's out in the public is just the tip of the iceberg.
exactly. So I think what it comes down to is like, these people that are in charge of this, that yeah, they're in charge of it. So I mean, we just have to like hope that they can keep it under control, I suppose, because otherwise, depending on if it's like the Terminator movies, then I suppose we have to like destroy all advanced technology before it takes over, and
There are
how
some people
advanced
who
it
are
really is.
completely against AI and don't use it and want to destroy it if they could. They really
Yeah,
think it's
I
like
think,
the work of the devil, you know?
you know, they might be right. We don't know yet. So I mean, technology isn't bad if it's used correctly, but I think
Yeah.
with AI, if you can keep it under controlled circumstances where it doesn't revolt against us, then it's good.
What would be your dream scenario, speaking from now on? Like, what would be the dream version of our evolving? If we dare to dream, what would be the utopia?
Well, I would say like
More emojis.
more emojis. Yeah, that's the first one. No, but I think basically, everybody is allowed to live the way they want, and so I think,
But
it's
also
like that
how
all.
we live. Sorry, how we live affects
Yeah.
others. Like as a species, how do we want to, the sustainability of our humanity? How do we together allow ourselves to continue?
Well, I think it's a tough question. Like on one hand, I think we kind of have been doing sort of okay, but without getting all political, I think the bigger countries want to have power over the smaller countries, which isn't good, obviously, and depending on which region people live in, and this is the good guy, that's the bad guy, and they're all bad in one sense. Every country that's attacking other countries. For example, a friend of mine told me, like, when the Russia-Ukraine conflict started, we shouldn't join NATO. Just let Russia take over all of Europe and us. It will be great. We'll be Russians, we'll have vodka, and we'll be a big country, and it will just sort itself out. And like, on one hand, I'm not saying he has a point, but I'm not saying he doesn't. Because like, it would be a lot safer to be this big Russia than small Sweden. I mean,
Yeah, in
but
a
on the
way,
other
it's
hand, we
like
don't.
also.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's like people give us two options. Like, do you want the apple or the banana? But imagine if there's a
Yeah,
third option, like not having
yeah,
wars or not fighting. Like, we don't want
yeah.
more NATO.
No, no. I mean, yeah, that would be the optimal solution. No more wars. And I think everybody wants that, obviously.
Not so sure
So
that everybody, not the political leaders at least.
no, no. But I mean, like, the people everywhere, I
Yeah,
think they don't want wars. Where I
yeah.
think, in general, I think, like, a bunch of nations have made great advancements the last couple of years. So we should continue to get better. But I also think, like I said before, like with this new digital life, so to say, I think it takes away a little humanity from us,
Yeah.
because we're all connected, but we're not.
I
Yeah.
also
So
want
I
to go
think,
back
like,
to. Sorry. I want to go back to the AI if it proceeds, and takes over. Like, it will not only take over humans, then also the animal kingdom will. Like, I can't imagine how the planet would look like. Or would they leave the dogs and cats and horses alone? And the
it all depends,
plants?
I think, like, what the AI thinks. So
If it wants to
depending on, like,
survive,
how
what does AI need to survive? It doesn't need
well
oxygen.
it no electricity, I suppose. So
And that it can probably create by building solar panels or dam or windmills. That's easy
yeah,
peasy for them.
I think it could. And I mean, depending on how smart it is, I think maybe it would construct like nuclear power plants or other ways as well.
Yeah. But it's interesting to imagine.
Yeah, yeah. I rather not think too much
I don't
about
want
those things,
I
because
don't want to analyze this part.
you know when you really like break it down and think about all these kinds of things, and like the universe, and you could really spiral, and then it
Yeah,
just
become
get a
overwhelmed.
little. Yeah, it gets a little too much. So I think, like, if you're a little grounded in yourself, you can explore possibilities and think about stuff like that, but then
Yeah, I don't want it to end on a gloomy note. What can we say to make it more hopeful? Or is
uh,
there any say about humans of today?
depending on where you live and your circumstances, I kind of think like maybe you just have to make the best with what you can. And I understand like it's not easy everywhere depending on the situation, and there's much pain and suffering everywhere. So I think there's this saying like if you have a roof over your head and you have food in your belly and you have a job, then you're richer than most people, because
Definitely.
not everybody has that. Like I said before, with perspective, and think the better you have it, the less you appreciate it, which is,
Yeah, they say the richer you get, it doesn't necessarily mean you'll be happier when you get richer. If you're very sad, or if you're very depressed and you get a lot of money, then that can make you more depressed than if you are very joyous and have a lot of love in your heart and you get super rich, then that would create more of that.
Exactly. So I think a lot of people that have money say that, like Jim Carrey said, like money won't bring you happiness,
Yeah, he said something like, I wish people would get rich and famous to know that it's not about that.
Exactly. And a couple of years ago, I was kind of sad about a couple of things, but then I started to think that compared to a bunch of other people, my life is still pretty good. But still kind of like, why wouldn't more people feel the way I feel? Because there's so many people that actually are in very, very good positions. Like they have it all and like they're still miserable, So everything is about perspective as well. Sometimes, people struggle with stuff that they don't want to talk about.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important. That's why it's so important to remember to treat everyone with kindness, because like you said, we don't know what's going on in their lives.
You kind of have to have like, compassion for other people.
Yeah. Beautiful. I like how we touched on what's currently happening in our world. Like we're becoming more and more lonely and isolated, and AI is emerging and we're wondering where it will take us. Is there anything else you think is on the table that we haven't touched on as humans of today?
People are the way people are. And I mean, while, you kind of have to like look at both perspectives. Some people are more social, other people are not. And, as a community and society, I think we, have to get out there a little more. Not forget how to be people among people.
So true.
It will do us good as a society, being more in the real world.
Yes. Amen. I truly believe in that. And even though we're speaking over the phone now, I think it's better than texting, and also meeting in real life is better than speaking on the phone.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Okay, thank you so much, Christopher. This was a very explorative way of looking at the human of today. And thank you to you, Christopher, and thank you to all the listeners, and see you next time on The Journey with M.